And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
Welcome back to Declare Your Independence with me, Ernest Hancock, here on Memorial Day, here in Phoenix, Arizona, IA, where we don't have any global warming, man. It's 60-something degrees this morning. I'm never going to go swimming. This is getting into June. Usually we got a bunch of 100-degree weather by now. Well, maybe in June we'll get some 100-degree. Not that I'm complaining, but I'm just, whatever, global warming. So what we're going to do is this last half hour here, I want to make sure I get the transition of Matt from being a soldier that comes back with some issues. I mean, you cannot be there, guys hooded and being their oppressors and, kind of trying to maintain your humanity while you're doing inhumane things and come back and just insert yourself into the blind society of what's going on over there without having some impact. Well, Matt, go ahead. Now, Matt Southworth, we'll get into what he's doing legislatively here in Washington, D.C., but I want to make sure that, we care what you have to say, okay? So
Absolutely.
Let's find out more about it. Now, when you somebody did an intervention on you, who was that and how?
Well, actually, I call it an intervention, and it kind of in a way was, but I decided to go to college after getting out because I met a girl, and it always starts with a girl, and she happened to be in Ohio, and I chose a small Quaker school that really, I only chose it because it was close to her and it had a wrestling team. Two things I cared about, the girl and wrestling. And it was just my way of trying to get back to normal. And over the course of the first...
okay, how old are you at this time?
I was 21.
Okay, 21, go.
So I just started college, and over the course of about 3 weeks, I was getting to know a professor at the college who is a Quaker. And as for folks who don't know, Quakers are the Religious Society of Friends. They're traditionally pacifists.
Yeah, peaceniks.
Yeah, the peacenik types, right?
All right.
So he tells me, I'm a Quaker. I don't believe in war, but I used to serve in the Army too, and I was really kind of blown away by that. And we started to kind of tell our stories to each other. And he said, you really ought to get into lobbying Congress. You should come out to D.C. We go every year, and we lobby our members of Congress. I think you could actually make a difference. And that, in a sense, was my intervention, because what it did for me was it gave my experience a voice. And it gave my kind of my anger and my frustration and my disillusion kind of feeling. It gave it an outlet at which I could exercise to be something constructive, and that was what really what I call my intervention. Okay,
now your first foray into Congress. How'd you feel after that?
Actually, it was really, I know a lot of folks, probably even a lot of your listeners, probably might not necessarily see where I'm coming from on this, but I took a group of students, actually, from the college, Wilmington College in Ohio, with me, and we all lobbied, and what I saw was a transformation, not only in myself, but the others around me. People who were more or less disenfranchised, didn't see how what the government did, affected them, didn't really care. I saw them kind of realize that they had a stake in this. Not only did they have a stake in this, but someone actually got paid to listen to them. And it was all about trying to figure out how to be effective. That kind of transitioned you from someone who just went in to someone who could actually make your voice heard and be effective. And so for me, I was really taken aback, because I came from an incredibly politically apathetic background. We just did not care about politics in my family growing up. It was never even a topic of conversation. And to come out to Washington, D.C., and sit down with an elected official's staffer and eventually an elected official who is accountable to me was really a powerful experience. And
Why? Did they change law? They propose bills? Did they vote differently? Did they, pat you on the head and say, thanks for stopping by, here's your pen? I mean, what?
Well, initially, it was just the fact that I was being heard. And now that I've been out here and I've been kind of doing this work for a number of years now, I've seen success stories, people co-sponsoring legislation who we wouldn't expect to co-sponsor legislation, people writing letters to the different various committees, or writing letters to the president requesting things, and then them actually happening. You know, over time you do see kind of the effectiveness in lobbying, the effectiveness in engagement. And the thing that I always say is, if we're not here, someone else who's not representing our interests is. So instead of saying there's no chance and kind of having a self-fulfilling prophecy, saying that I can't be effective and thus not trying and not being effective, it doesn't hurt to try. And we've seen, and at least I've seen over the course of my 2 years now in D.C. and 6 years or so doing this work, many success stories, many people actually listening to what their constituents are saying.
Okay. We're in Libya now. They weren't listening that much. Okay.
That's true.
So tell me what you know about that. Where's that going at? Because I'm way past. I was you 15 years ago. Okay. I so get it. All right. Now the thing is, though, that doesn't mean we don't complain. We're very effective in giving them what for. It's just it's a cultural thing. If I think I'm going to change them, I'm wasting my time when I have so much of that energy can be change myself and change my friends and change my family, which, of course, makes your job easier. So,
right.
It's not like, I don't think you should be there. It's just, everybody's got their own, thread in the tapestry.
No, I absolutely agree. I think that's 100% correct. In a sense, these things aren't mutually exclusive, but they complement each other. And I couldn't do the work that I do without a grassroots activism, not only activism, but advocacy as well, doing both, in the halls and chaining yourselves to the White House fence or whatever your forte is.
Or go dancing at the Jefferson Memorial.
Yeah, who knew that would get you hip tossed, right?
Oh, no, we knew. So what we're going to do is, I want to get from you right now is Libya. I mean, give me some details, because I can't muster up enough give a crap to go through all the minutia. They're going to do what they're going to do the way they want to do it, and whatever they say, their lips are moving on TV doesn't mean anything to me. So
yeah.
There was a provision that the president used to do this and said, I can do this because, what do they call that thing? War Powers Act.
War Powers Resolution, yeah.
So I can do whatever, okay? Now, there's a time limit on that. Well, that came and went, and tell me the process. What happened?
Yeah, I'll even start just a little bit earlier than that. So originally, the kind of buzzword around here and in the media, on the news, was that Colonel Gaddafi, president of Libya, was at Benghazi's gates, and Benghazi was like the rebel-held capital, and there would be an imminent slaughter and a humanitarian crisis if there was no intervention. And then, that was kind of the story for about a week. The United Nations passed a resolution that was backed by the Arab League that called for a no-fly zone. And early on, we over here at FCNL, I made the point that a no-fly zone is not an effective way of preventing a humanitarian crisis, and that this no-fly zone is in fact a part of a process. Now, we also had unilateral sanctions on Libya that were followed by the international community. The U.S. froze about $30 billion in assets.
Wow.
So the sanctions and no-fly zone happened almost simultaneously.
Okay, now we got a time out.
Sure.
I remember during the Bush administration, Gaddafi's our buddy now.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's all right. You know what we're going to do for you? We're going to buy your oil, and and by the way, don't be talking about this gold thing anymore. We're going to do it in dollars, and we're going to put it in this bank right here, and then it's ours now. Thank you for playing. I mean, that's what happened, right?
Well, that's definitely one way to look at it. I think.
No, that's what happened.
Well, I don't know if the motive was that linear, but effectively that's what happened. You're correct.
Well, they did that in Iran. I mean, it's the same thing. They go to all these countries and they say, one, you got to take the dollar. Two, it's got to be in our banks or put over here or some kind of deal and buy our treasuries or whatever. And then if they're not sufficiently bootlicking, then they just take it. And you say that we do these sanctions and seize $30-something billion. I'm like, how the heck do we even have access to seize it?
That's a good point.
So I'm going, it's don't think it wasn't on the table. It was. And he said, it's ours now. Well, we're going to talk more about it with Matt because he knows what's going on way more than most of us do. So we'll be right back.